Welcome to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. I'm your host, Poppy Lee, and this is the space for midlife women who are tired of feeling overwhelmed and ready for life to feel lighter, calmer, and more joyful again. Each week, we'll talk about simple habits, mindset resets, and easy tools that help you feel more in control, one small step at a time. If you're ready for peace, clarity, and your comeback season, you're in the right place. Let's make life, well, easy peasy. Welcome back to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. I'm Poppy Lee, and I'm super excited to have you on here. Good morning. For those of y'all who don't know, I am from a little po town called Dripping Springs outside of West Austin. If you continue west, you're going to hit Johnson City. And if you continue west further, you're going to hit Fredericksburg, Texas, the home of over 200 wineries and breweries in the local area. And if you're a fellow wine drinker like I am, cheers to wine and cheers to good coffee. Good. So let's take a deep breath in. And take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. So welcome. Let me fix something. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so welcome, guys. I'm so excited to have y'all on here today. Happy Thursday. Okay, so welcome to episode 21. Like I said, I'm Poppy Lee, and I'm super excited that you're on here today. Good morning and welcome back to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast, because today's episode is not about pushing harder. It's not about fixing yourself, and it's definitely not about another pep talk. And today's title is going to be, you don't need more motivation, you need a way that works. So welcome. Stay with me to the end, because I'm going to help you release one belief that keeps so many of us intelligent women stuck. The belief that if something feels hard, it must mean you're not motivated enough. So before we go any further, let me ground us the way that I always do. So each day, it's my motto of the day. Each day you have a choice whether to be happy or sad. It's up to you to find the positivity in life. And I hope that I inspire you every single day to do that when you start off your day. If you know someone who could benefit from listening, please share this podcast so you can brighten up their day as well. So welcome. And why this conversation matters, you guys. My mission statement is I will empower women in their midlife to recognize their inner and outer beauty, fostering personal growth and self-confidence every single day of their life. So welcome. And the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because I hear women say the same thing every day over and over again. I just need to be more motivated. I don't know why I can't stay consistent with everything I do, whether it's in personal life or business. I just can't seem to stay consistent. If I really wanted this, it wouldn't feel so hard. And I want to gently say this as clearly as I can. Motivation is not the problem. So let's see and let's figure out why motivation is not the problem. Now, research tells us why motivation fails us. Here's what the research says to us, and it's so important for you to listen to this. Motivation is state dependent. It fluctuates based on sleep, stress, your hormones, your emotional load, your mental clarity, and even your blood sugar. So motivation depends on a lot of different factors. It could be you don't have enough motivation because your hormones are off, or because your emotional state is off, or because your mental clarity or your emotional load is a lot. That's why our motivation fluctuates so much. But here's the deal. That means relying on motivation is unreliable by design. Studies on habit formation and behavior change consistently show that environment and systems outperform willpower every time. So just because you're like, I'm going to be able to do this, I'm going to tackle on the day, if your hormones are going crazy, and your mental clarity is off, that is going to be able to contribute to why you're not so motivated during the day, even if you have very good reasons to be motivated. Studies show that habit formation and behavior change show that environment and systems will outperform willpower every time. So when decisions are automated, supported, or guided, follow through increases. Precious, go. I don't want you to hit that. Go. Sorry, it's my cat. So when decisions are automated, supported, or guided, follow through increases even when energy is low. So when everything is aligned, when you have a regulated hormonal basis, when you have your mental clarity is like up to par the way it's supposed to be, even when your energy is low, you'll still be motivated. So when something keeps falling apart, it's rarely because you didn't want it badly enough. It's because things are not aligned or things are not balanced in your life. I feel like I need to move this. I guess I'm okay. So when something feels falling apart, it's rarely because you didn't want it badly enough. It's because you didn't have a way that worked with your life. Jen Sincero, in her book, one of my favorite books, How to Be a Badass by Jen Sincero, she says, why struggling isn't a requirement. This is where it comes in so beautifully. So I want you to listen to this. Jen calls out the belief that struggle equals virtue. That if something is hard, it must be meaningful. And if it's easy, it must be cheating. Listen to that. Jen says, and this is why it's a struggle to believe these things. If something is hard or you struggle through it, it must be more meaningful. If it's easy, it's like you're taking the easy way out or you're cheating the system because you're not working hard and you're not struggling through it. This kind of goes hand in hand with us being valuable on my podcast on Tuesday because we're struggling. So we base our value or our worth on us struggling more. And that's why we're worth more. And that's so not true. One of her most grounding reminders, listen to this. You don't get extra points for doing things the hard way. Read that again. You don't get extra points for struggling and doing things the hard way. The sentence alone frees so many women from self-blame. Because if ease is allowed, then the problem isn't you. It's a good point, right? So here's real life and why women think they're inconsistent. Let's talk about some real life. So women are not inconsistent because they don't care. They're inconsistent because they're overloaded. So if you're inconsistent and you don't do things consistently in your life, it's because your brain is going crazy because you're so overwhelmed with the things that you have to do. They're juggling family responsibilities, you're juggling emotional labor, caregiving, whether you're caregiving to an elderly parent or a child or grandchildren. You're juggling work, you're juggling relationships, you're juggling mental lists that nobody else sees, but you know that's there. And then you try to build goals or businesses on top of that. And layers with nothing supporting the structure underneath because all it is you. You're the only one that's supporting it. Come on. That's not a motivation issue. That's a support gap. So you need more support. And I told you the most important thing that you could do is also delegate, whether it's in your work life or your home life. You need to delegate responsibilities that you feel like that you need to hold on to constantly, but you need to delegate that. It doesn't make you weak or less valuable or less worthy. It actually makes you intelligent because that means you have time for yourself. So the big reframe, systems over willpower. Here's the shift that changes everything. Motivation gets you started. Systems keep you going. Systems, the way that you do things, your routine keeps you going. So motivation gets you started, but if you implement systems, that keeps you going consistently. A system simply answers questions before you have to think about them. What do I do next? When do I do it? How do I do it without overthinking? And research backs this up. Reducing decision fatigue increases consistency. Say that again. Reducing decision fatigue increases consistency, confidence, and follow through even when energy is low. So when you have a system, all of a sudden you go into repetitive. Do you have to think about brushing your teeth in the morning or washing your face in the morning or taking a shower in the morning or at night? You don't, because you've done it so long, I hope, that you're just in a routine of doing things over and over again. And you're not overwhelmed and you're like, I have to remind myself to brush my teeth every morning. I'm so overwhelmed. No, it's a system. It's consistency builds habit. Through repetitiveness and habit come consistency. Even when your energy is low and you feel unmotivated, you're still going to do it because it's a system for you, things that you do over and over again. Do you have to remind yourself at night to prep the coffee or in the morning to turn it on, or prep it in the morning and turn it on? No, because hopefully you've done it so long, it's just something that you automatically do. You don't have to think about it. Do you become overwhelmed at night and you can't sleep because you're like, I have to make the coffee in the morning? No, because it's something that you've always done. That's why systems actually and consistently, through consistency and persistency, become systems. And that's why systems feel like relief, because it's something you don't have to force yourself to do or think about. So what a system really is, let's think about this. Let's clear this up, because systems get a bad reputation, right? Systems are something that you feel like, oh my gosh, I got to do this again. It's something I have to do over and over again. It's a system. It's something that's a pain. A system is not rigid schedules or hustle or perfection or losing your personality. A system is clarity and guidance and reduced mental load. It supports on energy days where you're really, really low. It gets things going whether you want to or not. But I will tell you, so yesterday I literally cleaned the whole house, and I told Rick, I don't need like a medal, or I don't need a pat on the back or whatever, because I'm a wife and this is really something that I usually do anyway. But sometimes because of hormonal fluctuations and my midlife issues, I didn't feel like cleaning the house. I hadn't feel like doing much. But anyway, so because my hormones lately have been regulating themselves, my estrogen, when I had it tested, if y'all haven't tested your hormones and you're in my age, if you're in midlife, you're in your 50s, late 40s, early 60s, get your hormones tested. I had zero estrogen, and my progesterone was super low, right? So I ended up going to a holistic doctor and getting that fixed. And once I started regulating my hormones, all of a sudden I realized something that I hadn't realized was wrong with me. I was super tired in the morning, even though I had a long night, aka a long restful night. I was really, really tired in the morning. And then I didn't have any motivation. And I told Rick, I said, yesterday, I could tell my hormones were already regulating, because yesterday I woke up, I started to do stuff. I had a little bit of coffee. I only had like half a cup of coffee in the morning. I fixed my makeup. I curled my hair, which I hardly ever do, right? Only when I'm motivated. But all of a sudden, I was like, I need to clean the bathroom. So I cleaned the bathrooms. I vacuumed the whole house. I mopped the whole house. I cleaned the kitchen countertops. I cleaned like everything. I was cleaning everything. And I was like, what's going on? Well, and you would think, golly, that would overwhelm me. It doesn't overwhelm you when your body is aligned, when you're in balance, when you're in check. When your body runs the way it's supposed to run, you do things without effort. You do things without burden. You do things even on low energy days. Why? Because you do. But like I said, when you're overwhelmed, when you lack clarity, when your emotions are up and down, when you have hormonal imbalances, your body is off, and your body will tell you that something is wrong. And you'll know that by being unmotivated. You just don't want it. At the end of the day, Rick didn't have a $100 bill sitting in front of me and say, here's the candy. You can do all this and then you get this, or a pat on the back or anything. No. Like, that's something that I would normally do if things in my life were balanced. So Jen talks about this when she says, stop trying to be someone else and start being more of yourself. Let me back up a little bit. So our system is not perfection, losing your personality, or rigid schedules. A system is clarity, guidance, and reduced mental load, and support on low energy days. And she says this when she says, stop trying to be someone else and start being more of yourself. A good system works with who you are, not against you. So let's talk about why women blame themselves instead of the system or consistency that they are every single day. Here's the pattern that I see consistently with women, midlife women, especially my age. Here's a pattern I see consistently. Something doesn't work, so women assume they are the problem. I'm not disciplined. I can't stay consistent. I always fall off. But what if the system was never designed for your reality? What if a system and the consistency in your life that you have, that you need to have, was not designed for you in your reality? Good morning, Antonio. Good morning, Belle. What if the reason you stop isn't because you quit, but because it required more energy than you actually had? That's not failure. That's feedback. When your body is trying to tell you something, you need to listen. And I went over this in my podcast on Tuesday also. When your body's trying to tell you something, when it's hurt or when it's suffering, when it has low energy, when you're overwhelmed, your body is super smart. It tells you when you need something. It tells you when something's wrong, but you need to listen to the signs. And some people, you'll hear something happened to them, God forbid they end up in the hospital or whatever. They'll say, well, I had a pain on my back for the past couple of months and I didn't pay attention to it. And all of a sudden something's going on with their liver. Come on, B. Sorry, B. Something's going on with them, right? All of a sudden, listen to your body and your mind and what your gut is telling you. Even when you have to make decisions in your life, listen to your gut and your brain. There's an axis there and there's a connection there. And if something's going on, you'll know it because your gut will tell you. So here's a transition. When business makes this louder, this becomes even more obvious in business. When you have a business, like I told you before, when you're either selling jewelry, you're selling concrete, you're selling makeup products, you're selling, anything, could be anything, or you're doing anything in your job, because every day we're a salesperson, whether you realize it or not, right? Whether you realize that I'm a salesperson here, I'm talking to you about motivation and life and all kinds of stuff and giving you information and research and stuff. I'm being a salesperson. Did you know this? Probably knew some of it, maybe didn't know all of it. I'm still selling it, right? So because business adds layers, content creation, follow-up, consistency, messaging, education, trying to manage all of that with motivation alone is exhausting. If you're trying to run a business and trying to post content, maybe you have a Facebook page, or maybe you do ads on social media, or maybe you do ads on Google, or you have commercials, messaging people, consistency, and having CRMs and everything. It's exhausting, especially when you have low motivation. Guessing drains energy, and overthinking kills momentum. And momentum doesn't come from hype, though. It comes from clarity. If you're clear and you have a focused goal and you're consistent with doing it, and it becomes a habit, which is AKA a system, it's easier for you to do, and it takes less motivation and less energy and less worry. So here's, and this I always talk about during my midpoint, is I created something called easypeasyprompts.com/AI support, not to motivate you, but to support you. Inside, you'll find AI guided tools designed to help you know what to post, guide follow-up conversations, support customer retention, educate without sounding salesy, and also compliant, and reduce your mental load. And whether you're doing this, whether you're like, I want to post on social media, or I want to start a side gig, or I already sell this or that, this helps you do it all. Because if you have a system in place, like I told you, brushing your teeth is a system, whether you don't realize it or not. If you make coffee in the morning, that's a system. Everything you do in life is a system. And if it's not, and you haven't created a system out of it, then you're going to become overwhelmed. The same thing with your business. If you don't have a system in your life that you follow, whether it's in your personal life or your business, you're going to become overwhelmed. If you have to think of new things to do every day, you're going to be overwhelmed. This isn't just copy and paste. easypeasyprompts.com/AI support is not just copy and paste. It actually guides you through everything. It's guidance that you personalize yourself. So Jen says it best, Jennifer Sincero from You Are a Badass book. If you want something badly enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. I was trying to think of that the other day. I was like, I know she had a quote. What was it? So if you want something badly enough in your life, you're going to find a way. And if you don't want it that badly, you're going to find an excuse not to do it. right? Raise your hand in the comments. You're like, hell yeah. And I've done both, right? Support is not an excuse. It's a way. So if you have support, whether you're delegating chores at your house or whether you're doing something in the business where you have support system, support is not an excuse. It's a better way of doing things. So here's the shift that I want you to hear. This is what I was talking to you about earlier. You don't need more motivation in your life. You need less friction. When friction is removed, consistency feels natural. Confidence grows, momentum returns. Systems don't trap you, they actually free you. So friction is something that if you're going smooth, you're going smooth, but all of a sudden you have a thorn here in your finger and you're like, ooh, that hurts. That's what the friction is. So let's slow down and make this personal. Ask yourself, where am I relying on motivation in my life instead of support, whether it's business or whether it's personal? Think about it. Where am I relying on, I got to do this, instead of having support? Like yesterday, I guess I could have delegated some chores that I had done, but for some reason I was really pumped up wanting to do everything. Okay. So where am I relying on motivation instead of support? Well, yesterday I was definitely motivated. That's why I did a lot of stuff. But in your life, drop it in the comments. Where are you relying in your life on motivation that you have to do instead of support? Where can you delegate parts of your life or things that people rely on you? Where can you delegate that to create a system to where other people can help you do those things to create less pressure on you? What feels harder than it should? So what do you do in your life that feels harder and it shouldn't feel so hard? What would feel lighter with guidance if you knew how to do something and you created a system and created a habit and made it in your life to where you did it on a system and consistency? What would feel lighter with guidance? So drop it in the comments what you do on the daily or weekly that would feel so much easier if you just had a system in place. What do I keep blaming myself for that might actually be a systems issue? So what if outside you have a lot of leaves outside in your yard? And what if you created a system that every Wednesday in the afternoon, assuming it's cool enough, at 6 p.m., you go and you rake leaves and you start off a system. You start off with the right side of your yard. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do this area this Wednesday, this area the following Wednesday, this day the following, and I'm going to, if you're like me, you make an alarm for everything. So I have an alarm for everything. Today, rake leaves in the afternoon, 6 p.m. Okay, so take that away. So what if you went outside every day and you left your house and you saw those leaves and you were like, oh, I've got to rake those leaves. So it causes frustration and inconsistency and worry and maybe lack of confidence. You left every day to go to work and you're like, oh my gosh, my yard looks horrible. And then you go and it brings down your energy level, right? Because you're on your way to work and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to fix my yard. I've got to maybe plant some plants. What am I doing? What if you created a system for yourself that every Wednesday afternoon you had an alarm set for 6 p.m. that you did a little bit of your yard? Then in 2 months from now, your yard is spick and span. I guarantee you every day you walk out, say Wednesday you did that, then the next day you walk out and you look and say, myself a pat on the back. I created a system. Every Wednesday in the afternoon, I would rake some leaves. So you're like, that's one less thing checked off of your mental load. So then you go to work, you come back and you're like, oh, that side of the yard looks great. So then it's Wednesday again the next week. And then you create a little bit more and a little bit more. Then all of a sudden your confidence with systems, you build self-confidence, happiness, reassurance, worthiness, value, whatever you want it. You can add a whole bunch of stuff. But when you create systems in your life like that, it not only helps things improve in your life, but you feel really confident because you were able to create a system. Systems go with everything. Whether you make dinner in the evening or breakfast in the morning, how many times are you like, drop it in the comments what you've already created a system for and what you could create a system for that would make your life better. Because I guarantee you, if every Tuesday you fixed a crock pot and put it set up for dinner, and you set it in the morning, you put it on low and you go to work, come back in the afternoon, and then you have dinner ready to go. Every Tuesday, if you do that every Tuesday, that's a system for you. And your family, or you and your spouse, whatever, look forward to the dinner on Tuesday afternoon that has been in the crock pot, right? But what if once you forgot to turn on the crock pot? Then all of a sudden, all day, you're thinking about, my gosh, what are we going to eat? What are we going to eat for dinner? Now I have to call him. Maybe my husband will go home, and then all of a sudden I can have him fix the crock pot. And you're thinking about that, and it creates stress, worry, lack of confidence, and all day you're worried about that. But if you created a system that you followed and you set an alarm in the morning for your crock pot Tuesdays or whatever, okay, everybody's going to have crock pot Tuesdays and yard clean Wednesday afternoon. Thanks to Poppy. So Tuesday morning, if you do that, you set an alarm and you do that, that's a system. And you understand now how systems in your life start making your life better. It's so important. So what do I keep blaming myself for that might actually be a systems issue? Like I said, these questions don't judge you, they guide you. So here's the deeper truth and why you are not the problem. Let me say this clearly because one of y'all needs to hear this today. You are not lazy and you are not inconsistent. You are not broken. You are capable and unsupported by systems that you don't have in your life. Think about it. Some of the things that you do in your life, if you don't have a system to them, they're stressful. And no one thrives that way. You can't live that way. You have to live in an important systems life. If your life is full of systems versus somebody who doesn't have systems in their life at all, your life is going to be very stressful. So I want you to imagine a different way forward. A life where you don't rely on motivation. Low energy days are supported, decisions feel lighter, consistency feels doable, and growth feels sustainable. The version of you isn't stronger because you push harder. That's not why the version of you is stronger. You're stronger because you're supported in your life. You don't need another pep talk or more pressure. You don't need to try harder in your life. You need a way that works with your life, and you are allowed to choose that. Thank you, guys. Thank you, truly. Thank you for being here with me on episode 21 of the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. I love you, and I appreciate you, and I hope this episode helped you stop questioning your motivation and start honoring your reality through systems that you can incorporate into your life. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who's been blaming herself when what she really needs is support. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and make it easy peasy. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. If today's episode encouraged you, make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss one. Don't forget to grab your free guide at easypeasyprompts.com/busywomen's-guide. It's perfect for busy women who want life to feel easier. And join me live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll see you on the next episode. Let's go.